tag teaming this since my internet sucks for everybody that might be wondering. Oh, so Brooke is recording and I made her host so that if I get kicked off, I don't mess everything up for everybody else because that's what always happens. So, all right, welcome to our call tonight. I know we have a couple different teams on here. We have Bree, who was in the 645 test group. I think she was the only person in Heart Hustle downline that was in this one. So I'm excited, unless I don't know if somebody that was, to have her share with us. I just wanted to very briefly just remind everybody about a launch and those dates. So the 6th is the customer launch or coach launch. Sorry, that's just a week away. And then the 19th is when customers can get it. And just kind of that reminder of just that phrase we often say, we don't know what somebody else needs. And my husband and I were actually just talking before I came down here. I hadn't really planned. I knew I wanted to kind of pump you guys up a little bit before Bree talked. We were just talking about, so we're training for a sprint triathlon. And even he said this, that when I posted it the other day, we could not believe how many people liked it, how many people reached out to us and said, like, I've always wanted to do that. You've inspired me. We actually have 2 really good friends of ours that are going to join us. And he literally said, he was like, because we shared that, like one person decided to do this thing. And now all these other people want to do it too. And they're inspired and they're going to do awesome things for their life. And so just when we come up on this launch, it's kind of that same idea of like, you are that one person, and to think about how many lives can be impacted just by sharing your story. So just when we come up on this launch and kind of a big push month, maybe sometimes we go through the motions, but it's going to be a busy and it's going to be a full month. And I keep telling my team this, to stop making it so much about ourselves and being selfish about it, but more like, how could this serve somebody else? How could this help them with what they need? So kind of to have that mindset going into the launch and just to be planned and organized. And my team, we're doing a tracker challenge, do your crap challenge, or actually I didn't call it that. I ended up calling it the work smarter, not harder challenge, of just using that tracker. It's a busy season. So I don't want you to feel like you're going a million different directions all the time. Get in, do the crap, do the things, connect with the people, invite the people, send the carts out, and then get out. Okay. Just because it's a big launch and a big season doesn't mean it should be all consuming. Work smarter, not harder. Make those lists every week before you go into the week. Who are you going to invite for that week? These are all things that we've talked about before. Hop on the power hours to work efficiently. Okay. I just want everyone to I was kind of sharing this in a couple different chats today. There's just a lot going on. But if we have a plan and we stay focused, and coming here tonight and learning about this from Bree is an awesome first step, because then when you go and you share about it, you'll have some knowledge and kind of know what you're talking about, because that can also be super overwhelming. So that was my little pump up for you guys, but I'm going to hand it over to Bree here tonight. So I'm sure she'll tell us a little bit about who she is. She's actually she's not even my coach. She's a coach of mine's coach. And she lives just next to me. She is a mom of 3 girls and a wife, and she works full time. Like, you guys, if anybody can do this, like, she's got a lot going on. She's got older kids too. So they're like in all the things. And I asked her though to kind of share like how she got started with Beachbody, because I think it's always really important to kind of hear the full story and relate to that. So I kind of gave her some points to touch on, but I'm just going to let her take it away. And then I have some questions I'll ask her. So go ahead, Bree.
Okay. Can you hear me? Am I connected? Okay. Hi everybody. I am Bree Vaughn. And like Dana said, I think I'll just tell you guys a little bit about me and how I got started on Beachbody. I always think it's not really a remarkable story, but then I always remember there's always someone who can relate to the unremarkable feeling. And then I would just touch on Success Starter a little bit, and then 645, and then answer anyone's questions. So, Bree, mom, full-time attorney / trust officer. I have 3 girls. They are 11 and 10, and then we have a 2-year-old. So big age gap there. It's like we restarted the clock here 2 years ago. So super busy. My husband is a pastor for the United Methodist Church, and he also owns his own brewing company. So we just have so much going on. And I feel like, I'm dropping balls all over the place all the time. Like I haven't washed my hair in 4 days and I have a sangria right now because it's been like a crazy day. But anyway, so yeah, I distinctly remember so I had Everly in May of 2019 and a year had gone by and it was like May of 2020 and it was just getting nice out. And it was like middle of a pandemic, but we were playing outside in the backyard and my husband had taken some pictures and I looked at the pictures and I think a lot of people have that picture where like you look at yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, like how did I get here? And I could just see it on my face. I wasn't really enjoying, like I knew my smile was fake and I just wasn't really enjoying being outside with the kids. And I distinctly remember the outfit I had on and how much like I put it on that morning and it was just like, ugh. And nothing was mine. No time was mine. Like I was just completely drained and I had nothing to pour from. And so I actually looked online for something because I couldn't go anywhere, right? Like it was a pandemic, but also like I had 3 kids. Like I can't make it to a gym at 5:30 in the morning or whenever. Like I just can't get up and go. So I actually started with Tone It Up, so that was, last May or whatever. And I mean, it was decent workouts, but there was like no community there. There was just no one to connect to. And it just felt like I was working out with these blonde girls out of LA and I had no idea who they were. And like, it just wasn't fitting. And I did kind of start working out consistently. And then I started this meal plan they had for the summer. And it was like super complicated. And I was like, all this crazy, I had to get all these crazy ingredients and do all this stuff. And I did really good at it, for like summer. But then school started back up and like my life just went to crap again. And I just couldn't balance it all. And I didn't have any accountability. And it was just like, it went down the drain. And so that was like August. And I had maybe lost 15 pounds, but I just didn't feel any better. And it was actually Meredith was really good about, she just was sharing on her stories, like just sharing her workouts every day. And I saw her doing it every day. And I think it probably was like 2 weeks went by. And then I think I turned into one of those like golden geese that like you want, like I messaged her and I said, I want to do what you're doing. And like, I want to do all the things. And so she told me and I was like, sign me up. And I did the Shakeology, I did the workouts, I did the accountability group. And so like, that was last October. And I say it and it sounds really cheesy, but like, I've been chasing that high ever since. Like, I love the community and the work, like having these different programs and the variety is just really awesome for me. I really love doing a program start to finish. And just, I need someone to tell me what to do. I spend my life telling other people what to do all the time. And I just needed someone to like scoop me up, tell me what to do and I'll do it. And it turned into like habits. And so Meredith had prodded a little bit at first about becoming a coach. And I was like, okay, fine. Like, I think she had to ask me like 3 times. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm just going to do it. And then I said, I'm just going to do discount though. And then I liked sharing about it. Like happiness is contagious, right? So I was happier every single day and my cup was getting filled and it was pouring over. And that's really how it was. I was like, I want to share this. I want to do this with other people. And I think, so as far as like how I started enrolling people and my success, like those first, several months, I always call it was like low hanging fruit. Like 2 of my best friends instantly were like, okay, we want to do what you're doing. Because it was just changing my life so much. And so, they were in on the first month and then my husband was drinking Shakeology anyway. And so I was like, well, sign you up because I wanted some other equipment out of a different challenge pack. And I was like, well, I'm just going to sign you up. So I signed him up and, it was kind of the low hanging fruit and then just being consistent and of sharing, you know, in those other months, I had those the people like me who were like, oh, I want that. So I don't want, like, it wasn't hard those first 3 months for me to pick that fruit. I didn't have to do a lot of inviting, and I almost felt like I was cheating. I don't know. I like didn't have to do a lot. It was just, like I said, the happiness that my life was changing, and it spilled over, I think. So I didn't even really understand what I was doing. I think when I hit success starter, I think I messaged everyone and was like, I'm a success clubber or something like that. Like, I had no idea what it was even called. But I hit that, and then I got the email that, oh, hey, you know, you hit this and you're gonna get to be in a test program. And then everyone was super excited. Like, we were all excited. And then it came out who the program was with and what it was gonna be. And I remember I was terrified. And I think if you would scroll back through some of the coach chats, like, it would be hilarious, because I was like peeing my pants. Like, I was Googling him and like, just look at him. I mean, I was mortified. Like, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. So there was like, it was like a 4-week lead up too that I had to wait. And I don't know if I was doing MBFA or what I was doing, but I remember just thinking, gosh, I'm not prepared for this. But then I got into 645, and I actually want to show you guys a clip from my last workout from last week. I don't know if I can share my screen. I'm gonna try. I hope it doesn't screw anything up. Oh no, it's disabled. Can we enable it?
I will do my best. Hold on. I'm a little slow with this. Okay.
I wonder if I can just hold it up to the screen. Can you guys see this? Okay, are you guys ready? I'm just gonna play it from here. Let me turn it up. So that's a towel, and he told us we had to air it out, and we had to do that for 3 rounds for like 60 seconds each, and I about died. And I was just so embarrassed. It was on my clip for the workout, and I was like, I can't share that on my feed, but I had to share it to all the coaches. He said that probably won't make the program, but he was really fun. Like, it's just to show, like, it was not as mortifying or terrifying as I thought it was going to be. He's intense. But this program was really, I really do think anyone could do it. It starts out, well, obviously, okay, so it's intimidating, right? It's 13 weeks, 6 days a week, 45 minutes a day. And that just seems like a lot. And especially for people with really busy schedules, I just thought, gosh, I'm not going to be able to keep up. But I think the schedule is really manageable. And you guys I think a lot of you have done that sample workout. And a lot of the workout, the 45 minutes, is the warm up and the cool down. So like, he has like a 10-minute warm up, but then he also will have like a 5 to 10 minute cool down. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, get on with it. Like, I have stuff to do. I don't usually, warm up like you're supposed to. You're supposed to warm your body up, right? And you're supposed to cool your body down. And it really kind of forces you to do that, which I think is actually really good. And 45 minutes, when he says 45 minutes, it's not like a secret hour, like some other programs might say, okay, it's going to be, this long, but then they don't include that in it. That's included. He's basically teaching you the warm up is part of your workout and the cool down is part of your workout. So you're including all of that. So the 45 minutes, I mean, if you're spending time in your day stretching, warming up, anything like that outside of your workout, that's just wrapped into this 45 minutes now. So I don't know that the time should be that intimidating. And really, the program itself, if you look at him, you're like really scared, but it's a lot like MBF, in my opinion. At least the strength training days were. And I think the other days, which I'll kind of go through it in a second, were probably a lot more like the work or the prep. I didn't do those, but that's just the impression I get. So there's 6 days, and there's a, like a lower body legs day. And then you have the power day, which is a lot of like primal type movements, which is what I would envision. I don't know if anyone's done the work or the prep, but that's what I think it is. So it's a lot of primal type movements. And then you have your like upper body strength day. So your lower body strength day and your upper body strength day, those really are a lot like MBF. Like you have like 3, set or 3 rounds or 3 blocks, and then, a couple rounds of each exercise. So you have legs, power, arms, and then you have tempo day, which is like a strength training and almost primal day mixed together. And he does a lot of like call outs and changing the tempo. So like you'll do the same, you'll have a block where you're doing 3 sets, but on one like press, you'll do 2-second intervals. And then the next one, he'll say, now I'm switching to 4, or he'll alternate each rep. Like he'll call out different things. And then the last day is a cardio day, which I'll be super honest, I hate like cardio on a screen. Like it drives me crazy. So sometimes I did his cardio, and actually sometimes I just did like a long run that day. But his cardio is 3, so it's 7 moves, and you go through them 3 times. And then middle of the week, I forgot, there's a full day of stability and mobility. And I will be honest, sometimes I didn't make that. Like I did a much shorter version of that. Like I got to the meat of it in the middle. If I couldn't fit, like if I had to rearrange a day because of my schedule or something. But on those stability and mobility days, he really teaches you a lot about your body and how to take care of it. And he also does a lot of like breathing exercises. And I will say this program is like, it's not just about your body. Like he's talking to you about your whole life and how the things you do impact your health. So he has a big focus on like sleep patterns, and he wants you to do certain things before you go to bed every night. Like he doesn't want you on your screen, for an hour before you go to sleep. Like he says, turn off the screens or put them to super low light. Like he talks about how, certain things impact your ability to fall asleep. And then we'll talk about nutrition. I don't know that he focused a lot. It was more like follow your nutrition plan. So like I do Ultimate Nutrition Fix, so I stuck to that the whole time. I did do a 3-day refresh in the middle of it because I was having some trouble on the weekends on sticking to my guns there. So I did a refresh in the middle. But it really is 45 minutes. It's not a control freak. Like it is a slower 45 minutes, and you are really learning a lot about form and the different muscles that you're hitting, and how if you feel a tug here, like maybe that's something you need to focus on. Like he gives so many tips on the very first week he did this kind of tutorial on squats, and like half of the people doing the test group realized they were doing squats wrong like their whole life because it was hurt. There's something about some people can do squats with their feet facing forward, and some people have a stop in their hips where they need to have their feet facing outward for them to get their full mobility. And like I think half the people commenting, like their minds were blown, like they couldn't even comprehend that they'd been doing it wrong. And then they did this one little adjustment and it like changed their whole squat lives. So you learn a lot, and he's always teaching you about what muscles you're working on and the different moves, and what they're doing for your body. And he'll give tips like, if this hurts your knee, you need to tweak this. So I couldn't repeat any of the muscles that he taught us about. Like, he's always talking, he has these big, long words for them, and I never quite learned them. But I just learned so much about my form. And I think Megan Davies is good about this too. Like, she's always telling you to run that form checklist, but like, I know it now. Like, if I'm doing a squat, like, I know exactly what I'm looking for, and like, I can tick it off. So I think it is kind of slow going, but I really felt like I was being trained. Like, I wasn't in a workout class. Like, I was face to face with this guy, and he was training me, and I was learning. So I really liked that. Like, it was really focused on quality of reps, and in doing it right. So I'm trying to think if there's anything. I don't know if you want to go to the questions, Dana. I could probably keep going and going and going, but
yeah, I have a few. So, okay, a couple things. Well, first of all, I'm just curious. Like, I know there's like 45 minutes. It sounds like a lot, but it's 15 minutes really that much more than the 30 minutes we were already doing? I know your schedule is unique to you, but what time of day did you typically work out? Like, where did you fit it in most days?
So if I was in office, I'd be having to get up at like 5:30 and do it. However, I have kind of the luxury right now if I'm working from home. And I think I have the most motivation to work out around like 9:30 or 10 in the morning. So, and it's easy for me. Like, I'm obviously I'm a super busy person, right? But I don't want to like lie to anybody. Like, I'd put a webinar on for work and have it going in the background, like something I needed to listen to, and then do my workout at the same time. And not everyone can do that. I know that. So, but really, if you have qualms about the 45 minutes, I really do think, like, sometimes if I was in a bind, I would have him play through, I would play through the set or the block and see what the 3 moves were or whatever, and how many times he wanted us to do it. And then I would like pause him and I would do it, and crank through it. He does stop, at least in the test program filming, he stopped and talked a lot, like, it was a lot of learning. If I didn't have time for the learning that day, I just didn't. I do think by doing that, you do miss a lot of the tips and tricks and tweaks that he gives. And then, like, if you're on a tempo day, you're going to miss, the different tempo call outs and things like that. But I think you could do it, if especially every now and then. Like, if you needed to speed it up, you can.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember you mentioning that, and that's kind of how 80-day obsession was too. Okay, so while we're talking timelines, I'm going to ask another timeline question. 13 weeks is a long time. So how did you feel about the 13 weeks? And then how do you plan to, like, if you have customers or coaches want to do it, address that fear? That was one of the.
I'm a 3-weeker. Like, I want 3, like, 9-week control freak was really hard for me. I was ready to be done, like, the last phase. I think I was like, oh my God, I need something new. I didn't feel that with this, but I don't know if that's maybe, I was in the test program and it was exciting, but it's so different every day. Like, you are doing different things every single day, each week. And I'm trying to think. I think he only honestly repeated on cardio days. And then maybe once or twice, like, he would repeat a workout, but like not often. And it was broken down into phases. And then each phase had, it had, I think it was 2 weeks, and then the third week, or maybe it was 3 weeks and the fourth week, but you had what was called the deload week. So you would, he dropped everything from, like, if you were normally doing 15 reps of a workout, he dropped it to 10, but he wanted you to do heavier. So like there was always just something different going on. And I honestly, I think it wasn't until the 12th week that I was like, okay, I need like some Megan Davies in my life or something. Like I needed something a little different. And which is weird for me because like I said, I'm a 3, like I'm an MBF. I want MBF and then I want out. That's like kind of where I was before this. So I didn't feel that. And I guess how I would present that, I don't know. I guess I haven't really thought that through, how I would, calm those fears. I think it's worth it. I think you learn so much. And I will say, so I was kind of at a point where I wasn't like in it, like I needed to lose a bunch of weight, but I think this might be actually part of what was exciting about it. My legs have toned up like crazy. Like I don't even remember what I was doing. I was bending down to pick something up and I touched my thigh and I was like, holy crap. Like there was like nothing there and then muscle. And I got so excited. And part of what maybe didn't make it wasn't boring is because he's so funny. Like he's fun. Like I think everyone has this view that like he's mean and this hard ass on you, but like he was like dancing and singing and the cast is cracking jokes the whole time. And it was just, it was a fun program. Oh, and your glutes, like that was the other part of it. He wrecks you. Like those bands, your glutes will never be the same. They will, it's bad. And then I even pulled the bands back out. I'm just doing clean week this week because I needed something to do in the interim. And I pulled the band back out when she started doing squats. And like, that band is amazing.
I'm kind of nervous for the band, but also excited.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. So I know this is always asked with every program. I feel like everywhere I look, this is like the question is, who do you feel like this is for? And I know Amwala, he kind of addressed this on our call the other night. So if you guys haven't watched that, make sure you go back and watch that too, because he was super informative. But like, what do you feel like? I guess like anybody, some people, new people.
I don't know that I would give it to somebody new right out the gate. Or at least someone who hasn't worked out before. At 13 weeks, I just feel like that's really intense. Mm-hmm. And then if it didn't work for them, like that's such a hard letdown. But I'm honestly pretty new too. Like I think I did 21-day fix, the MBFs, and then 9-week control freak. And then I didn't have a choice. I think I was in this. So, if it was going to be somebody new, I'd almost have them do something short, in the beginning first to get something under their belt and then do this. I don't feel like complexity wise, it's that bad. Like he builds you up to that 13th week, and the 13th week is called peak week, and it was horrible. Like it was so hard. He instead of like deloading, I don't even know what the word would be, but he upped it. He upped everything to like, if you're doing like planks, he upped you to 60 seconds. And then if you're doing reps, he upped you to 20 reps. And so peak week was rough, but like, I remember doing the first week and thinking, okay, like we need to pick this up a little bit. Like it was a little underwhelming, but then we went into week 2 and I was like sweating like crazy. So I don't know if it's like the very first thing I would have them do, but like as a second program, I don't think there's anything wrong with that because it really is a buildup over the 13 weeks. And other than like the primal stuff, like, so like power day, when you're doing like, the beast, like tabletops, like there could be stuff that is like hard on your knees, and in the test program, he wasn't really he did throw out modifications like pretty often, but I think there's an actual modifier in the cast for the new one, which is good. I think pretty much, I mean, a lot of it, other than like that primal stuff, I think you could modify pretty easily, because especially like the strength days, I mean, that's just weight based and all of that. So, yeah, it's really informative. You learn a lot about your body. So someone relatively new, I think, could still do it. I don't know if it's what I'd recommend right out the gate though.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I like, some people are ready and gung ho for that huge challenge. You know, a couple of summers ago, we did Morning Meltdown 100, and I had a handful of brand new people, and they loved that because it was such a big challenge that they felt. So I think just weighing or having those conversations with those individuals, like, what do you thrive on? I'm like you, I'm the same. I like short programs, and I thrive on success. I'm obsessed with accomplishing things. And so I would the type of person that probably needs a short program to start, because it could be, if I would get a couple of days off with a 13-week program, I could derail from there. So just having those open conversations doesn't mean we can't get people started with it. And then, you know, maybe they start it eventually. I'm always about having those individual conversations. I really just only have like one or two more questions. The next one is more just like specific. Oh, and there is a modifier in case anybody hasn't done the sample and stuff. There was a modifier in there, and the guy, whatever his name was, he actually, I noticed, did things like harder than what Amwala was doing, some of the moves. So that was kind of interesting in the sample, at least. What weights did you use? How high did you go? Not, I mean, that's kind of like a personal question, kind of, but not really.
So I got progressively heavier. I can tell like anything, like I can see, I'm trying to do like this shoulder thing I've never had before, this little bump here. And so like anything like presses or like I went up and up and up. And I think, you know, I think for some of them, like especially on like the deload week, like where you're only doing 10 reps, I was probably pressing like 20s when normally I would do, you know, 10 to 15s depending. And then like some of the primal stuff, like you'll do swings and snatches. And so like I was, my set only goes up to 25s, but I was doing 25s with those. And then you do like bridges and stuff. I was up, like I have a 40-pound, and then I had a stack of 10 on top of it because I just didn't feel like I was getting enough. So like, you know, just like, I don't even know if that's the right word for it, but like a bridge where you squeeze your glutes and, you know, you're on the ground. So you have a lot more, you know, in that type of move. But like, I would have some heavier stuff on hand, especially for that deload week, because what he wants you to do is, you know, go as heavy as you can because you're only doing 10 reps. So, but yeah, as the weeks went on, like I touched my 10s less and less.
And you look so good. Like you look so toned, trimmed up, and
I don't know. I think my thighs and then my shoulders a little bit. I still have like my little underarms, but we'll get
there. Okay, so then to finish it up, two things kind of in one. Then I guess if anybody else had any other questions, I'm just curious, and it's not a right or a wrong answer because I don't know if I could do 13 weeks back to back. I'm curious if you're going to do it again. And then I just love to hear, like, what was your all-time favorite part of the program? Like, was it the lifting, the what you learned from him? Like, what was your favorite part of it?
So I'm not going to do it again. I'm actually, like I said, I didn't know what to do. Like, and I just came off a vacation. So I actually finished the program in Texas at like a little farmhouse. I took my weights with me because I didn't want to stop. Like I wanted to finish it on time. So, but then I didn't really plan very well what I was going to do. So I was just doing clean week, and like I'm intensifying it a little bit, but I'm also just kind of giving myself a little bit of a break. But I don't know what I'm going to do next. I think I need to do lift for, I kind of just want to go back through MBF just because I loved that one so much. But if it wasn't so long, I'd do it again. But like I said, I'm just a shorter program kind of person, and I just can't recommit to 13 weeks again. But I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say and like see if there are any differences I'm sure there will be some because none of the workouts I did were recorded for the program. They were all pre-recorded, like kind of his practice, rounds. So, what was the other part of your question? Oh, my favorite part of the whole thing. I really love lifting, which is funny. So I think I said earlier, I hate cardio and I love lifting. Well, when I started this whole thing, I thought I loved cardio and hated weights, but I really loved, there was a strong weight focus in this program. And like, just to see, like, shoot, I would have done like 25s with bridges, 6 months ago. So to know that like I didn't even have enough weights to pile on, like that was awesome. So I really love that progression. And I wasn't really looking at the scale very much because I'm kind of at a point where it's all nutrition for me, like to get any movement there. But the toning that I've seen, and it's from the weights, right? Muscle comes from the weight. So I think that is my favorite part.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask one more question. So it's kind of been asked a couple times in the chat, a couple different ways. I know there's 4 phases. Do they seem different each phase? Is that maybe what kept it new going? And then the other part Meredith just kind of asked was like, if you ever wanted like to go back and do this program again, but you didn't want to do the whole thing, do you feel like you could jump into phase 3 or 4? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If maybe you've already done it once through, I hope that makes sense what I'm asking.
If you've done other lifting programs, I think you could definitely at least skip phase 1. And like, I definitely would if I jumped back in to do it. I also think you could probably like do phase 1 and then take a little break and do something else and then go to phase 2, later on. I think you could break it up. There's nothing, I mean, he'll say every once in a while, like, hey, remember last week we did with this without weights or something like that. But there's nothing that I think would require you to keep it all together. Does that make sense? Like, I definitely just like jump into phase 4 because like peak week was terrible. But if you have some experience lifting and stuff, I think skipping phase 1 would probably be okay. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a trainer.
And I know like all of our programs are designed to be done like start to finish. So the recommendation typically would be like, well, you should probably do it start to finish. So yeah. But as like a coach, if you're kind of like interim between programs, we mix and match other things either way. So it's like, well, maybe it wouldn't be all bad, but it won't come out that way anyway. So
and I mean, you could even do a week of it. Like if you're not picking the deload week, I think you could even do a week of it at a time. I don't know that there's anything that would require you to keep it all together other than like it does build in complexity and he does push you to lift harder or heavier as you go on.
Yeah. Does anybody have any burning last questions? I thought we'd wrap this up by 9:15. So we got just a couple of minutes left. Go ahead and drop it in the chat or unmute. I don't think so. You did so good, Bree. That was awesome. You were so informative and I loved hearing your story, which I mean, I kind of knew it, but I don't know that I've ever like really like heard it told like you telling it like that. Yeah. So
I think you look back and you see your story more as you go on, right? You don't always understand where you were, until you're not there anymore. So
very much so. Very much. I completely, and at the beginning, you probably might not see the chat, but like Brooke was saying, when you were saying, I don't feel like my story is like necessarily, like nobody feels like their story is very big, but like she was saying, sometimes the most relatable ones are the simple ones because
Right.
those are the pieces that people relate to. So
Right.
anyway, yes, thank you so much for sharing. And thank you guys all for hopping on tonight. Brooke will get us the recording, hopefully. All right.